Viewers be advised. Today's episode contains themes of suicide and may not be appropriate for all audiences.
I mean, I truly can say I was never lower. And you know what makes my heart hurt about that? I don't like to talk about, but like, I look back at how much joy I missed because there was so much joy to be had. Like, they were the most beautiful boys that you ever want to believe, you know? And I missed so much joy because I carried so much pain. I'm so sorry.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Reesa and I'm your host. We are talking to real families about real stories here on The Real Family Eats, where we've got food for thought and thoughtful food. So let's eat. Today, my lovely guest here is Samantha. Hi, Sam. Thanks so much for being a guest on our show.
So proud of you. It's so good to see you here. You still have little sister vibes to me. That's really never going to change.
I know. I mean, you guys adopted me when I was in college. I had no family, so same feels.
Family. And I will come out to San Diego anytime. Don't you ever? I'm on my way. So God, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me join you today.
Yes, absolutely. So for my listeners who don't know you like I know you, can you introduce yourself to them?
I would love to. So my name is Samantha Alloway. Let's see, I'll start with the most important role I have in my life, which is the mother of 3 sons, aged 11, 9, and 3.5. We had a whole surprise COVID baby. While it was a surprise, it was a pleasant and beautiful one. And he is honestly in charge of the family. So I'm glad he showed up. Yes. And I've been a mom now, considering pregnancy for the last 12 years, which I think makes me a bit of a veteran parent. And I have 3 kids. So it's a strong number. It's like herding cats at this point, you know.
Outnumbered, for sure.
Yes, it's a strong number. And also my 9-year-old son, Ellis, was diagnosed at the age of 3 with autism spectrum disorder. And it has been a journey into learning the disability field and learning the disability world and what my role was in that for him as far as an advocate and a mother, and being a mother on some days and an advocate on other, and on many days, both, you know what I mean? Navigating the special education system and IEPs. And I found myself in a journey of advocacy and of education. I eventually went back and got a degree in criminal justice studies and legal justice studies to become a professional paralegal so that I can learn the law and navigate how these things work. And through a series of happy accidents, I became the CEO of the ARC of Illinois. We are the largest advocacy coalition and organization for advocacy, families, and guardians of those with disabilities in the state of Illinois. So I've been there for the last 14 days. So fresh.
Big transition.
Yeah, a little transition. So that's what I'm doing in my day to day. We live right by the river. We live by the Fox River in Illinois. We do a lot of water sports, a lot of biking, and that's pretty much my day to day.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear more about your story. And similar, I'm so proud of you and kind of, getting this potentially, big challenge, life-changing challenge, and just kind of tackling it head on, it sounds like, and figuring out, this is my kiddo. I love them. And I want to be able to kind of do what needs to be done. And if there's not someone to do it, hey, guess what? I'm going to do it.
So, yeah, well, I guess I'm going to do it myself. And that
exactly. Blazing that way.
Absolutely. And but that's all of us mamas, isn't it? Like every day, no matter how hard it is, we are figuring out how to do the best job we can. I don't think I'm alone in that. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about kind of the ARC and, how do we find those resources for anybody who might be needing them?
Oh, sure. You can find us at thearcofil.org. So if you ever want to look us up. But what's great about the ARC of Illinois is there are 50 chapters. So whatever state you're in, there is an ARC. We are a member, we are a chapter of the ARC of the United States. So what I love about that is we're not just having federal legislation and federal policies, but then all of that's navigated through the states to try to be that resource for families looking for where to turn when their children are diagnosed with a disability or their adult loved ones. Sometimes it's not until somebody's older that you recognize there could be an intellectual developmental disability, or there could be a traumatic brain injury that changes and creates an intellectual disability where you need services, day services, or community integrated living arrangements, which we call SILAs, somewhere where adults with disabilities can have independent lives. And that's really what we try to do through the ARC, is to create the most empowered and individualistic support, because it's a person-centered support, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have your 2 boys, and are they the same person?
No, I mean, that would make my job a little bit easier.
That's true. A little copy and paste action
Right?
going on.
Just do that.
I swear to you, my sons have the same parents, and you wouldn't necessarily know it if you met them. They look alike, but how different their character is. And so something we really strive for is those person-centered services that create a world where people have their own choice of where to live, what to eat, where do they find joy? Do they find joy in art, or do they find joy in sports? Do they find joy in horticulture? And we try to provide those services as much as we can within the community. It's a really big honor. It's a lot of fun, and it's really at the bottom for me, like the root for me is to make sure that I leave this world better for Ellis than I found it. If I could do something that creates it a little bit better for him. I mean, the phrase, I wouldn't change you for the world, but I would change the world for you, drives me every day. So, be the change you want to see type stuff,
Absolutely. Gosh, I absolutely love that. And I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. I'm so excited. All right. Before we get into more of the story, tell us what recipe you're going to teach me today, and tell me why you chose this one.
All right. So it is basic as can be. I swear to you, Reesa, I do cook better than this in real life, but if I'm cooking for kids, so especially having a neurodivergent son, he is very specific about foods.
Okay.
There's a lot of food aversions that we dealt with even more so when he was small. Now he'll try different fruits and vegetables, and I can get that going. Yes. But his other 2 won't. I don't know. Emmett eats good. That's the 3-year-old. The 11-year-old, I don't know. He's just a carnivore. Like, he's on the carnivore diet. He just wants burgers and fries. I guess that's not really carnivore eat. He'll eat that. But Ellis, okay, good, but Ellis is very specific. So he eats a very consistent diet of chicken fingers or tenders,
which I have,
or nuggets. He eats a lot. Any Dorito besides spicy Doritos, he will ingest soft pretzels, yogurt, and Capri Sun. So it's a very healthy, well-balanced diet, as you can hear.
Yeah.
It's the food pyramid, Capri Sun, Go-Gurt, so tonight we're going to make taco night, and it's as basic as can be, but there's one little thing I add in there to try to make myself feel better, and that's cauliflower. So we blend it in to make it a bit of a lie, and that is helpful, and often he will eat that because he doesn't even know it's in there. So we're going to make tacos. We're going to make tacos, girl.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, my oldest Malachi, he saw what recipe we were gonna do today, and he was like, "Can I be your taste tester?" And so it sounds like it's already gonna be a big hit. Granted, I don't know if he saw the cauliflower on the list, but we'll see.
I won't tell him.
All right. So what do I start with? I've got my pan. Am I just throwing my ground meat in there?
We're gonna throw it right in. So let's ground the meat first.
Okay.
Just put it in, heat up the pan, whatever oil you prefer, and then you're just going to ground that up. Do you have the taco seasoning packet too?
So you know what? I didn't have a taco seasoning packet, so I kind of made my own. I made my own taco seasoning.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, because then you could do it with less salt and less sugar.
There you go, right? So that was my intention. Yeah, that's what I meant to do.
I can see that. Okay. Ground that up, and you start there.
Okay. So while this is browning, tell me about your journey. I'd love for you to kind of start about what were maybe some of the aspects that you were seeing kind of with Ellis that kind of had the flags going up that, hey, maybe there's something more here. Let's explore some answers.
All right. So I think it's important. It's always difficult to answer that question because I do have to go a little further back and tell a little bit about who I am and kind of where I came from. As you know, I have twin sisters. So 5 years younger than me. For all of you out there watching her, she went to school with my baby sister, Cassie, and Sabrina for a while, right? Ruby was there. And that's how I met this beautiful soul. So I'm the old lady of the family, and that's okay. I have no shame in that. So
wise, I think is the word we would use. Wise.
What is the word?
Wise.
Oh, I thought you said lies.
Oh, no.
It's like here and there, but our parents passed away when we were very young. I was 16 when my father passed away. I was 25 when my mother passed away. I was diagnosed with cervical cancer when I was 27. And from that, not to sound so sad, I was an upbeat story, but the reality of that is when I entered my motherhood, I entered it a parentless parent. And I didn't have a lot of support. I didn't have, a lot of time parents, even if it's unwelcomed at times, have their opinion about how we mother. I don't think I'm often that. Like, they just got something to say. I imagine when I'm a grandmother, I'm going to have something to say to my kids. Like, well, you didn't eat like that. I guarantee I'll have something.
I know what to do. Yeah.
I know what to do. I could fix this. Right. So, but I didn't have, and I had, like, when my parents were around before they passed, they were those type of parents that had something to say. My dad was my coach. My mom was, my motivator and also my criticizer. also
dual relationship there.
We had a dual. Yes, we had a hybrid relationship. We butted heads. There's no oldest daughter, mother. It's Taylor's oldest time, right?
It's a real thing, man.
It's a real thing. And we had that going on. So when you lose that, when you lose that sort of support and you're kind of looking around, you're like, well, where do I turn to for support? And my sisters being young and single and beautiful. And, I'm starting my family and they're still out partying, like they want to be aunties on Saturdays from noon to 3. And then they got to get ready because they have a concert or a gig or, so it's kind of like out there on this like little parenting island. But my first son was born within the year of my diagnosis from cancer. Because once it was cleared, I was like, I'm getting married. I'm getting pregnant today. Like because I was so afraid it was going to come back. And I'm very happy to say it never did. So I'm 13 years cancer free.
Yeah.
40. So I mean, like life is good. My life's been amazing. But in that moment, I got married, I got pregnant, and Jax was a baby sent directly from heaven. I'm certain of it. At 3 days old, he slept 8 hours through the night. That kind of baby, where it just makes babies look easy. He nursed like he'd been nursing his whole life. Like my best friend on earth, Danita, she told me, he done been here before. Like the Southern would say, like, he done been here before. Like that's an old soul. That baby's been here before. And that was Jack. So he was so easy that I was like, well, this is easy. I'm going to have another baby immediately. So I did. Still not supposed, no Irish twins, but they're 20 months apart. But when I got pregnant my second time, even during the pregnancy, and I really do mean this. So, and all of this to say is if a mother's watching this, somebody who's been through parenting for many years, trust your gut, follow your heart. Even if you have doctors telling you you're wrong or we don't see anything, believe yourself. If there was one piece of advice I'd give any mother, especially young mothers, believe yourself. Like that is not an accident that you're having a feeling or an instinct. Trust yourself, no matter what anyone says. You know what I mean? When I was pregnant with Ellen.
Oh, I was just going to say that's so powerful because you're absolutely right. There are so many doctors out there that will just kind of dismiss you, especially as, a young parent. I feel like, gosh, how much that happens.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And with Emmett, I was an old parent. I was 36 when I got pregnant with Ellis. And that's considered like geriatric, which screw you, by the way, but it's what it's considered. That's fine. I was an old parent. With Jax, I was 28. It's still not young. I'm like a teen parent by any means. I wasn't going to get an MTV show or anything, like I was still pretty old, but I was young enough that it was easy to write me off. And, not having a lot of family support in that, it was even easier for doctors to kind of write me off. Yeah. So during my pregnancy, I could feel something was different. And what I mean is when music would play, and I don't want to scare anyone either. Like if you're pregnant and your baby doesn't move to music, don't freak out. But if you feel that and you also feel something in your gut, maybe listen to it. Because one thing I didn't know is in most states, there's early intervention services that the state provides 100% for free. And it's from age 0 to 3. After that, you have to go through usually your state board of education or through private services. So the state of Illinois, I can speak to, we do have early intervention services that I did not know about. So every time I get an opportunity, I share that just in case one person out there is like, what do I do? Call your state.
Yes.
And see if there's early intervention. Okay. He didn't respond to music. He nursed incessantly. I mean, he would nurse every 15 minutes. He didn't nap. Reesa, he didn't nap for 7 months.
Oh my gosh.
And would sleep maybe at most an hour and a half to 2 hours through the night, which led me truly through like sleep deprivation to postpartum. And I would share this with you. And I guess all mothers know they're not alone. Postpartum psychosis, like it led to the second, it wasn't just depression. It was living for 2 years with suicidal ideologies and suicidal tendencies, and truly getting to the point where I did have the plan to end my life. His behaviors were violent, and they were aggressive, and they were consistent, and there was no support, and there was no services, and nobody knew what to do. And the doctors just kept telling me, he's only 1, and then he's only 2. And then even if he was on the spectrum, we can't diagnose him till he's 3. And that is a loss. So, but never told me that there was early intervention services or that there was someone out there that could help. There are people that want to help,
And gosh, that sounds so lonely to kind of be in that and be in such the state of mind that for you, there doesn't seem to be any other option but to end it, and to kind of, to have that and feel like you're having to like carry that all by yourself. And, anyone that you're kind of trying to turn to, and even the fact that you were reaching out for help, and to have that hand kind of, nope, no. Oh my goodness.
It was a very profound and very like life-changing experience. And I truly can say I was never lower. And what makes my heart hurt about that, I don't like to talk about, but like, I look back at how much joy I missed, because there was so much joy to be had. Like, they were the most beautiful boys that you ever want to believe, and I missed so much joy because I carried so much pain. I'm so sorry.
Never apologize for tears. No. We're here about talking about real stuff, and tears are absolutely real. Oh my goodness.
Okay, good. I'm glad I have my mental health coach with me on this call. Thank you. Thank you. Praise you. Thank you. It was, I look back at these photos of these babies, and there's moments where I'm like, I don't even know who these babies are, because I was in the depths and in the weeds, and I missed it. I missed so much joy with my boys. Eventually I sought help, professional help for myself. And I started to take care of myself and demanding that my partner assisted in me taking care of me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I hope it, yes. He kind of sat on the sidelines a bit and let me take charge of all the parenting, which I'm not even putting negative vibes on him for that. It was like, you're the mother. I believe you know the best thing to do.
I mean, that's kind of what's perpetuated, right? Your mom. It should just like kick in. What? You had a baby? Like, you should just know what to do.
You should just know what to do with this thing. Well, I am 100% certain for a moment you were a part of this process. Like, I'm almost positive you had something to do with this. Just a little bit something to do, And he took a lot of sideline seat, and me being a very type A personality, undoubtedly, and being very controlling, undoubtedly, the oldest of 3, right? I took that as, like almost like being a martyr of motherhood. Of like, yes, it hurts, but it's supposed to hurt. And I gotta tell you, now that I'm like number 3, like, I hope he turns out okay. I'm not sure. Jackson Ellis basically raised him. Like, get your brother a yogurt, okay? So Emmett really does live off of love and Go-Gurt. And I hope he turns out okay. He's great. And out of the 3, it's made him the most independent child too. Okay. It has, because he knows to ask for what he wants. And I
love that.
he had to learn, where with the other two, I wasn't working full time. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was like, a mother is supposed to be a mother is supposed to be a mother, because that's what my mom did. I saw my mom be a stay-at-home mom. She didn't do a lot for herself. And if she did, it was still for me, because basically her out was like PTO. It's like, well, you're still doing it for my school. Like everything was revolved around the kids. And I guess, if I was a mother, if I had a young mother in front of me, which you are, I would tell you, like, oh my God, just love yourself too, and demand that the people around you support you as you support yourself. Because that is where you can find the joy, I believe, in the process. He eventually was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. He was 3.5 years old after spending a year in special education. He received ABA, applied behavioral analysis therapy, for 3 years. He was nonverbal till he was 4.5. And now, I mean, there's a lot of fight in between there, but I'll take you to where we are today, that he is a mainstream 4th grader. He still has an IEP, an individualized education plan, for those that don't know, that is assigned that he gets extra time on some testing. He's got some assistance for math homework. There's certain things in his IEP meetings used to be sometimes 2.5 hours a piece, with a team of 17 people would be sitting around this boardroom assessing my child in every way. His first assessment, he was 3.5 years old, and it almost broke me when they said he had the occupational skills of a 6 to 9 month old. He was 3.5.
Gosh, yeah.
I felt like such a failure. And that's really where I started to spiral, because I was like, if I can't even be a mom, and I'm supposed to know how to be a mom, right? Because isn't that kind of what they tell us? Like, we're supposed to know how to do this.
Yeah.
If I can't even do that, then what worth do I have in this world? And that was really where, I fell apart. So just demand the people in your life, if they want to be in your life, then they better support you as you support you, because motherhood's hard as hell.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. And with the beaver cleaver stories out there, right, of vacuuming in your pearls, I mean, that's a hard ass to live up to, man, and it's so unattainable.
I think so, especially not in this era's tour, like not in this economy. Like, we're not. Somebody's got to make money, so like it was quite the journey with Ellis. And the reason I went into this field was I never wanted someone to feel the way I felt. And so when I speak of like, be the change you want to see, it was like I wanted to become a leader that can help parents, guardians, siblings, and self-advocates too believe that their voice was worthy. Because once I found my voice again, it's pretty much over. It's like, well, I'm gonna go do this. So how's the ground beef coming?
So it's all brown. Do I add my seasoning now?
What I would do, is it a frozen bag of cauliflower you have there?
So I didn't know what we wanted to do, so I roasted mine. Is that okay?
You roast it. So normally, if you were to have it, I would have a bag of flour a frozen bag of cauliflower rice. So if you're home, because what it takes on is the consistency of the beef or the ground turkey, whatever you use. So let's pretend we just put a bag of cauliflower rice in there.
Here's my rice, cauliflower.
And then
I'm just gonna make my kids eat this one.
All right, you just kind of like mash it down in there. I think it'll be perfect.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And then you add the seasoning.
Okay.
And at your own.
Okay.
At your own pace. And I don't know if you usually put like a 1/3 cup water with the seasoning, because then it kind of comes to a simmer.
Okay. So I'm gonna simmer.
Yeah, put it on a simmer. Like I usually add some water or chicken broth if you prefer. It adds a little more flavor. And then let that simmer. And then while you make the simmer, so this is the Ellis taco, because you have those chicken nuggets prepared on the side, right?
I did.
Ellis does not like ground meat. That's a food aversion, very similar, but he always wants to be a...
Okay, before you go on, for those that don't kind of know, like what's a food aversion? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, I would love to. So food aversions are so much deeper than I don't like the taste.
Yeah.
Like what's a food you don't like?
I'm not a big spicy person. I'm kind of wimpy.
Okay, that's perfect. I, for a long time, like didn't like olives, you know.
Okay.
I kind of like them now, but I didn't like them. I just don't like them. So there's taste preferences. That's pretty normal. That's the human body, like our only preferences. Aversions, and it's very typical in autistic people, the texture, the smell, the taste can literally send them down a rabbit hole of sensory that can make them feel ill, anxious. It's not so many times, especially people will say, well, if they're hungry, they'll eat. And with small kids that don't have food aversions or on a spectrum, that probably is true. You know, they might munch on a carrot eventually because they're very hungry.
I don't know about you. I mean, my kiddos are, the force of stubbornness is strong.
Is it really? I wonder where they got that from.
No, I'm not hungry, even though I haven't eaten all day and my body is hangry. My mom could tell I'm hangry. No, I'm not hungry.
But they're not eating. Okay, so they will stay stubborn for those vegetables too?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ella's, you know, it's really, they will not eat. They won't. And it would, for some people, especially, so it's only been 50 years that it was illegal to institutionalize people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Only 50 years in the United States of America has it been illegal to institutionalize people. So we have to kind of keep that in mind, that this is still pretty recent that we've even started taking services as a serious industry, and that people deserve opportunities for different therapies and different services and different living arrangements that allow them to have individual lives and empowered lives, truly, you know, that they're empowered in their own choices. They could be thrown in an institution and they could be sedated, and that's where they would live their days. And that was common. So it's still very new that people are learning and being educated on the reality that children with autism will often just not eat. So in institutions, because they wouldn't eat, they'd either be fed by food, by tubes, you know, like, or they would just starve. And there were instances where people did just starve till they passed because they won't eat. So Ellis has very particular tastes. And even though he's gotten very brave and grown so much, I mean, he eats strawberries, he'll try pineapples, he likes apples, he eats carrots. He's actually the best eater out of the two oldest boys for sure. Now, Emmett eats everything. That's a fun age. He's 3.5. He eats everything. The other two are still kind of picky. But Ellis, he always wants to be a part of taco night, even though he's not going to eat that meat, and he doesn't eat shredded cheese, and he doesn't eat sour cream, and he doesn't eat lettuce. So it's like, okay, what do you eat? What can we do? He likes Doritos, and he likes taco shells. So the crunch works for him. Yeah. So what we do in our little house is he eats a crunchy shell. Okay. He lines it with chicken fingers or tenders inside. And then he uses barbecue sauce on those chicken tenders in the crunchy shell. And I know, but don't knock it till you try it, because honestly, not bad.
I mean, you're getting like double crunchiness, because if you've got a crispy chicken tender, you put it in a crunchy taco, and then, you know, you got your yummy barbecue sauce.
And he likes it. And then he'll crush some Doritos on top of that barbecue sauce. Because, you know, for effect, for a little decor.
Triple crunch.
And yes. And then it's a way that we can all have taco night together. You know, and he doesn't feel excluded from the process that he's having tacos too. So that's really where it's become a fun weekly dinner for us.
Do you find that inclusion and finding those ways, yes, there's maybe slight adaptations to it, has that been useful, beneficial to kind of his thriving?
Oh, absolutely. Right. It's because versus teaching them that they need to accommodate to the world, it's also teaching them that they are empowered to have people accommodate them too. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That they're worth it.
Yes. And creating that empowerment in him, that he's deserving to ask for what he wants, just because it's not like what everybody else wants doesn't make it any less. I think that's a lot of empowerment, and he takes that on himself. And also, if there's ever reason to put a bag of Doritos on the table, all kids are happy in my house. And I know if you're like a great crunchy mom or an almond mom, you're gonna be like, you're awful, but that's fine. I don't care.
But again, everybody has their own story. And so if you're able to have kiddos eat with that diet and they're thriving and you're able to sustain it, you keep doing you and you keep thriving. Not everybody has that luxury. Not everybody has the funds to be able, I mean, some of those, crunchy foods, as you mentioned, they're expensive.
And it's so like $5 a bag.
Exactly. Like you go to Trader Joe's and it's, a car payment.
Yes. Oh my God, that is true. Yes, it is true. I mean, yeah, we struggle. I mean, it is a struggle. And I don't know about your boys yet, but are they in the snacking phase yet?
Oh yeah, we have the snacking stomach is probably 3 times the size of their regular stomach.
What is that? Why is that? That's the same here. Like he snacks, but you snack, like he'll eat like Ellis. Oh, popcorn. Okay. Also, Ellis will eat more popcorn. He would live off popcorn if I let him. I'm 100% certain he would turn into a cob of corn if I allowed that to happen.
Like a buttery popcorn? Like what kind of popcorn are we talking?
Sure. So he'll do bagged popcorn. We have a homemade popcorn maker that he loves, and he likes that white cheddar seasoning. It's like that pop kernel seasoning in the blue can or blue container. He'd eat that all day. Or that smart popcorn. Okay. You know what I mean? Like that, the white cheddar. He'll mess that up too. Like popcorn, he would turn into a cob of popcorn if I could. So, or if he could. But okay, so I usually do that with the tacos. So that's the Ellis tacos on the side. And also I feel like often moms, we are line cooks. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I'm always seeing like I'm making different meals for each kid. Do you have that too?
Yeah, taking the orders. What do you want? What do you want?
So the accommodations for Ellis are the crunchy chicken tender taco. And then for Jax and Emmett is where I have the cauliflower. So once that's all baked into one, I really kind of just make it like a lazy Susan type. So I have it here. You can't see that. I will put out usually, shredded lettuce. And you got the conchas there and diced tomatoes. Jax loves sour cream and cheddar cheese. I lie to myself and say he's getting some protein in there, which because he is pretty protein. He's getting clean protein, not a lot of vegetables. Yeah. And then I let them assemble it themselves. Even the 3-year-old, he'll put his own toppings on and that makes it more fun too.
I was just going to ask, why is that important to you about having them assemble their own stuff? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I think having the age gap, which and it's an age gap. So Jackson knows there's not much age, like 20 months. They ride their bikes together. They go to the same elementary school. They'll go to the same middle school at one point, same high school at one point. Emmett, let's see, if Emmett's 3.5, that means Ellis was 6 and Jax was 8 when he was born. So that is a pretty decent age gap to come in. You've got this brand new baby. They don't have a whole lot in common, right? They're not going riding bikes together. So I like to create kind of meals where they all feel their own independence. And also, I can't be the only mom that does get tired of making 5 separate meals every night.
I feel
insane. That's insane. And also when they get old enough, I don't know if yours are, how old are your boys?
So 8 and 10.
They are 8 and 10. Okay. So do they make their own dinner ever?
So we do more lunches, like breakfasts and lunches. They usually kind of take care of their own.
Perfect.
And then dinner, usually mom's, got some sort of meal. And I like to cook in bulk. So they do leftovers a lot. So that's when usually you're getting your different orders is, okay, you've got, 5 different leftovers to choose from. Which one do you want?
I actually like that. So you're a food prep person.
Oh, 100%. I don't think I would survive otherwise.
All right. That's a really good tip. Maybe I'll food prep more because I don't. I feel like I'm always flying off the cuff. Like I'm always flying off the cuff with these kids. I am. But I think taco night for us is just like one meal that everyone will eat in their own special way. And every taco is a little different. But we can all come around the table and laugh, and talk about the day and relax and actually enjoy the meal. Because often when I make anything fancier, I'm in the kitchen cooking while I'm serving them food. By the time I'm ready to eat too, they're done eating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is something you could put out all at once and then you can all enjoy it together.
Absolutely. I love that. So I'm curious, as I'm kind of assembling my tacos, I've got one chicken tender, and one with the ground meat. But I'd love to know, kind of, as you're going through, I mean, just such a powerful and moving story, which I want to just take a moment and say thank you so much for your willingness to kind of get raw and vulnerable with me, which I know is not the norm. I feel like most people's tendencies are to keep some of these things hush hush. We don't share because we need to perpetuate this story that we have in our head. So first, thank you so much for your willingness to even share this with us. But also, I'd love to know kind of, what do you think for you, like, biggest aha moment, or, kind of as you're doing this, that you've had about parenting in this climate, etc.
Oh, wow. My biggest aha moment. Ooh. Do you mean like about like my career or about my motherhood?
More on the parenting side. Yeah, for sure.
I think a huge aha moment for me was probably a few years ago when I could feel me kind of falling into the depths of depression after Emmett was born, and of consistently struggling to feel good in, first off, my skin, and second off, in my personal development and in my life. So because of how I was raised, and neither good nor bad, they did the right thing for them, my parents, that my mom stayed at home and my father was the breadwinner, if you would. Even after he passed away, he was a very fiscally responsible man. And so my mom worked, but she worked as a union bus driver. She worked her butt off, and she loved her career. She loved her independence, and she was so good at it. And people loved her because they should. She was wonderful.
She was amazing.
Yes, she truly was. She's a lot, but I love her. I miss her. That's for sure, but she did that for insurance, right? She put herself out there to make sure that me and my sisters had insurance and that we were safe. But she wasn't necessarily providing for our everyday bills because she had that in my dad, and it was a very positive and also very traditional, for especially for their era. Because my parents were older when they had kids. So my parents are actually boomers. Most people my age, like Austin, are Gen X are their parents. But my dad was 40 before he had kids.
Oh, wow.
And my mom was 33 when she had me, and 37 when she had Cassie and Bree. And my dad was 45 when he had my sisters. So that's an older set generation for parenting, right?
Absolutely.
People are waiting to have kids till later. And as well they should. Like, you just have a baby whenever you want to have a baby. Do not do it.
Or if you don't want to.
Oh, bless you. Or bless you if you don't want to have kids. Bless you.
I mean, just the gall to be able to say, you know what? Kids aren't for me. Oh my goodness. Go you. Better you know it now.
Baby, you go. Because it's not for everybody. And the fact that we do put women's value on, are you married? Do you have children? No and no. And there was this meme I sent Cassie, because she's not found her person yet. That's okay. And I said, it was like when someone asks you, so why aren't you married? Your response should be, just lucky, I guess. Like, just.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
I totally love that.
Just lucky. Some of us are blessed. Like, why don't we have children? The Lord loves me. Just don't.
Thank you, Jesus.
Praise him. Praise above. Like, do not fall victim to you are less if you do not have children. No, you're not. You're just richer. You got no stretch marks. Your boobs stay in the right spot.
You can go on vacation whenever you want,
Whenever you want, like after I did nurse my kids, I nursed all three. It's going to cost me 20 grand to get back to the factory reset to put everything back in place.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to find them now, every morning. It's like, where'd they go?
Just flipping and flopping over here, And so, like, good for you, whoever, woman or man, decides I don't want to have children. So I don't put any
Absolutely.
pressure on that. I don't even know where we were going. You had me cracking up. What were we talking about?
We're talking about your aha moment.
Oh yeah. I could see myself like spiraling back out into feeling that those voids of depression and feeling like all I was caught up in this day to day with these kids who I love, but these kids, you know, they put a lot of pressure on you.
100%.
And I decided to make the bold change, and it was radical for my life, to work full time. Now, I understand, like, for some people, like, well, I had no choice. And I don't mean any negativity, but for me, I was working 4 jobs for 10 years. And it took a very big toll trying to balance my life around these kids because I wouldn't put my kids in daycare. It was a thing because my mom's like, I would never put my kids in daycare. So it perpetuated to me that I would also never put my kids in daycare because that would make me a bad mom. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
And well, guess what? We was broke as hell. I was miserable.
Yes.
My marriage was falling apart. And I mean, it really was an aha of I cannot do what she did. And I don't have to do what my mother did. I can do things differently.
Yeah.
So I went back to school while I was pregnant with Emmett. And I went back, like I told you, to get justice studies. It's legal justice studies from Rasmussen University. I graduated top 1% of my class, graduated with a 4.0 GPA.
While having kids, while pregnant.
Yes.
Look at you.
Look at me, right? And I became a professional paralegal, and my hairdresser got me a job as a paralegal at the leading firm, Myers and Flowers in St. Charles. Wow. And while I was there, I was making okay money. Like, I'm all right. You know, like I could make ends meet with that. It was a good start. But one time I was signing this contract, like between you and me and everyone that watches, of course, I understand, but between you and me, I signed this contract, and I kid you not, on this case, my attorney was going to make like $4.7 million off of this case. And what I was going to make was like $4.70 off of like the work I put in. You know what I mean? Like and I was like, well, ain't this some bullshit? I was like, no. So I started fighting. I started learning politics. I became a director of government relations. I poured myself into my career while balancing with my kids. Wow. And what I found for me is when I was able to embrace my passions, my love for myself, motherhood became a little better for me. Emmett did go to daycare. All the things I said would never happen, well, he did. Yeah. And I gotta tell you, he's alive. He's happy. He spoke earlier than his siblings. He's more independent. He eats a better diet because they make all their meals. You never believe this. I got this townhouse in Algonquin, and his daycare is across the street from me. So every morning we walk down the stairs to his daycare and take him to school. So he's physically close, but somebody else is providing care for him. Yeah. And while that was a hard thing for me to do, to break that kind of generational, I would never say it was a curse, but precedent, you know, that like this is what we do in this family. And I decided to not. And now I'm a CEO. I'm the first CEO in my family. And on either side, like my mom or my dad's, I'm the first female CEO. I'm an entrepreneur, and I have no regrets. And even if one day, and I keep saying this, like maybe one day I'll look back and I'll be like, well, I made the right decision, but I got to tell you, girl, today ain't that day, because I like, I like me. I like the capability of being me. And I feel that the aha moment for me is the stronger I am in myself, the stronger I am with my boys. And I feel like I'm teaching them that women are allowed to be empowered too, and that women deserve to be happy in their motherhood as well. Absolutely. So that was a big thing for me. And it's going well so far. It is.
Yeah. And I love that, you know, you're absolutely right. So many of us kind of have this box, right? This outline of what it's supposed to look like, how we're supposed to do things. And we're trying to fit in somebody else's box. And guess what? It doesn't fit, because you're your own person. You have your own life experiences, your own challenges that not everybody is going to know or be able to kind of navigate in the exact same way. And so what I love about what you said is it sounds like you made your own box And so now it fits perfectly because it is customized to you and to your family.
The best I can, one day at a time. Yes. And but it's hard because, and then also, it's a weird life, right? Because my mom and dad aren't here. So really nobody's judging me, which I know that sounds, like a good thing, but sometimes it's hard. You don't get the feedback. So you're like, am I doing a good job? Like, am I okay at this? And then all of a sudden, like, those boys will come up to me and make me laugh. Or I get a call from school that, they're doing incredibly well. Or I see them pick a piece of garbage off the street and throw it in the garbage can. And I'm like, no, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
I wish all moms, the grace that we give others, imagine if we gave that grace to ourselves, how honestly more beautiful life would be. The women give so much grace, I think, to men. Unfortunately. And I was thinking about it, like, if all the grace I gave a man, I had given myself, I would be a chubby millionaire by now. I'd be a chubby ass millionaire girl, because I would have had like this huge, luxurious career, and I would not be limiting myself when I go out for dinner. Yeah. I wouldn't say like, oh, just lettuce, please. I'd be like, yeah, give me that double bacon cheeseburger, extra set of fries, please, cheese on the side. I want it all. I don't want no Diet Coke. Give me the real Coke, the real thing.
I want the sugar. All of it in there.
Fuck, just please top it with a little cane sugar while you're back there. But no, we feel the pressure to look good, to be good, to have our hair dyed. Don't go gray. Don't age. Don't gain weight. Well, mine's dyed. My hair, yeah, right. Like, I don't have any wrinkles. Please, this is $1,000 worth of stuff in this face, to be 40. Cheekbones, I paid for these cheekbones. And I have, even stuff like that, like taking care of me and being truthful in that. I think that vulnerability always gains more connection than pretending everything's perfect. Like, let's talk about the fact that it's hard, yet somehow here we are being amazing, because women are amazing. It's true.
Oh my gosh. I love this. And I love getting an opportunity to chat with you. So again, thank you so much. So here's my beautiful, here's camera. And so I'll be taking a bite, but we'll do that so you don't have to hear me crunching. Because these are, I got the triple crunch in here. But it was been so amazing. And I know you have so much more to share. So I'm sure I'll probably bug you again and make you come back and talk to me some more.
All right. Well, it's been such a pleasure. You were amazing. And once again, I'm so proud of you. You're such an incredible woman, and you're changing the world. So thank you for thinking of me in your journey. It means a lot. You're incredible. You are.
Hey, I got to live up to my big sister, right?
There you go, baby.
I love you.
Thank you so much. I love you too. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
If you or anyone that you know is struggling with any of the topics that we discussed in today's episode, make sure to check out our show notes for support and resources. You can get help. Thanks again for joining us on today's episode of The Real Family Eats. If you're a parent ready to share your real life parenting story, make sure to reach out to us in our website found in the show notes. And that goes for today's recipe, social medias, support, and resources. All of that can be found in our show notes. So make sure to check them out. And make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and stay up to date on all things The Real Family Eats. I hope you'll join us next time for more food for thought and thoughtful food. Enjoy your eats.